Hi everyone, welcome you all. In my previous video, I have shown you how we can do post and get request using serialization and deserialization approach in RestAssured automation. Now in this video, I'm going to show you how we can perform post and get request using serialization and deserialization by using XML format. Especially in the previous video, I concentrated on JSON format, and in this video, I'm going to show you how we can do serialization and deserialization using XML as a request and response. So to demonstrate this one, I'm going to use a new API. So that is VideoGameDB API. So I'll show you how we can download and set up this API now. And then we will see how we can invoke this API and how we will get the endpoints from this particular API. So first of all, so as a prerequisite, we need to install Gradle application on our Windows, because this particular API runs on Gradle. So Gradle again is a build tool which we need to first install on your Windows operating system. So we need to just go to this particular URL and just open this one on the browser. So it will go to Gradle official website, and all the releases you can find it here. So here there are different versions are available. Just click on this binary only. So once you click on this binary only, it will download a zip file. So it will be like this. So inside this, I have already downloaded the zip file, which will be like this: Gradle 5.4.1 bin.zip. So once we have extracted, you will get this particular folder. Inside this folder, so you will see all these files. So you have to copy this particular folder somewhere in the C drive. So I have already copied in my C drive. So you can find it here. So this is my Gradle suite. Okay. So once we have copied this one and unzip and copied this one, then we need to set a path. So go to bin folder and just copy this location till bin folder. Now you need to go to this PC and go to properties and go to advanced system settings, go to environment variables. So here just go to path variable, click on edit. Now here I have already added this path. If not, you can just click on the new and paste it over here. So this is how we need to set our path. So once you set a path, just close all this window by pressing OK button. Right. So this is the first thing which we need to do that. So now the Gradle configuration is done. But before installing Gradle, Java should be there. So JDK should up and running. So then the Gradle works. So and better to use below Java 10 versions, because this Gradle application is supporting Java 7 or Java 8 little older versions. Okay. So Java 8 is most comfortable one. Right. So now this is a prerequisite. First, we need to install Gradle on Windows. If you are working on some other operating system, you can also install Gradle on the respective operating systems. So this is a Gradle download link. Now, the next thing is we need to download this video game API. So here I'm providing the link in the description also. You can just guys download this. So just go to this particular link, and from here you can just download the VideoGameDB. So this is available. This again open freely available on GitHub repository. So just go to GitHub and open this URL, and you will go to this particular folder. Just click on the clone or download zip. So you will get all these files. Okay, so you need to click on the download zip, and in the bottom also they have given instructions how can use this particular API. Okay, how to install and how we can do that. I'll show you step by step. So first we need to download this particular zip file. So once we have downloaded this zip file, so you will see this particular VideoGameDB master.zip, right? So this is a folder, and this is a zip file you will get, and copy the zip file somewhere in C drive or D drive, wherever, and extract this particular file. You will get this particular folder. Inside the folder, you will see a lot of files like build.gradle, gradlew, form.xml, and so many other stuff. You will see that. So this is how we need to just download VideoGameDB API. So once we have downloaded this, so once we downloaded, extracted, and keep that in the folder, now I will show you how to run your application. This is the main important. So we install Java and Gradle is there as a prerequisite. Then we have downloaded VideoGameDB API. So here I'll show you how to run application using Gradle. Okay. So this application support only Gradle. So I'll show you how to run this application using Gradle. So I'm just copying this nodes. Right. So I'll show you how to run this application using Gradle. So only thing is just we need to go to this particular folder, and I already copied in the C drive in this particular folder. And inside the folder, just go and to the command prompt, or if I open some other command prompt, just navigate to your folder where you have extracted. So once you navigate it here, you need to write a small command called gradlew. So gradlew space bootRun. So this is a command you have to execute. To run the application, just go to the drive somewhere, wherever you have location, right? So folder location. So inside this, you have to execute this particular command, gradlew and bootRun. And this particular command will take some time first when you run first time, because it needs to download all required dependencies, all these things. But the first second round, it will go very faster. Let me run this command in the command prompt. So directly I'm entering gradlew bootRun. So press enter. Now once you have done the press enter, it will start running your API. Let's wait for a few seconds. It takes some time. So I have just pressed enter, so it will start. Okay, so now it is starting daemon, so it is configuring few options, and we need to wait for a few seconds to complete this particular process. And once it is up and running, we can ping the API request URL on the browser to cross check whether API is up and running. Let's wait for a few seconds. It is building all the stuff. Right, so now building 80%, it is saying boot run. So once it is trying to execute, so parallel we can also check whether this API is up and running. So still it is doing some process. Let it complete. So meanwhile, I'll show you the URL which we need to use to get this API request. So URL is, this is the URL. Let me just copy in the notes. So this is your base URL. Okay, index.html. So we need to use this URL. So all the APIs are available in the Swagger UI. So this application by default is designed by using Swagger UI. So we can find all the endpoints in the Swagger UI itself. So let's copy this URL. And once you are up and running, so now it is, I think everything is ran. So let's execute now. So go to your browser, open your Google Chrome browser and open this request. Press enter. So now it should open the Swagger UI. Okay, so once it is open the Swagger UI, so click on this list operations, click on the list operations, then it will show you what are the different API requests it can perform. Let's see, get, post, delete, get, put. So the different type of requests are there. And if you want, you can also test them using Postman tool also. Okay, so later I will show you the Postman tool. So we can also send these requests in the Postman tool, or here we can dynamically test these APIs, how these APIs exactly working. So here there are few APIs are there. So the first API is get request video games. And when you click on this get request, it will show you what is the format of payload which we need to send. So ID, every video game is having ID, name, release date, review score, category, and rating. So there are 6 fields are available for every video game. So when I send this request, it will give you, if you click on the try it out, it will give you all the list of video games are available in the database. Because similarly, if you want to post some request, we can just use this post request. So here we need to, it will support JSON, XML, both formats, guys. So this API, I'm going to show you first XML, and by default, this API this particular API supports XML format as well as JSON. But some of the APIs support only JSON, or some of them are only XML. But especially this API is designed for XML as well as JSON. Both the format, we can send a request and we can get the response. So we can just click on the try it out here. We need to pass the body and we need to specify something here, because it will create a new video game on the database. There's a post request. And once you create your video games, you can also get it. So we click on the get. So here we need to just pass your video game ID. When you click on, suppose, let me say 10 here, click on the try it out. It will give you the details of the video game ID 10. So name, release date, review score, and so on. Right. So this is a Swagger UI. So very good look and feel we will get here. So we can just execute all your APIs dynamically here. Right. Now I'm going to take especially 2 main requests. One is creating the post request. The other one is get request. And these 2 API requests I will make. And using serialization and deserialization, especially for XML request and XML response, right? So this is how we need to set up for this particular application. That's the first thing part, setup part. So this particular URL which we need to use, open the Swagger UI. All right. So the make sure this video game database application with API application with API endpoints that support JSON as well as XML format. Right. So currently in this session, I'm going to use XML format because we already done the serialization, deserialization for other API. So in this session, especially I focus on XML part, right? So now my API is up and running. So there are more number of requests I can send here. So now let's go to Eclipse. So in the serialization and deserialization, the first and most important approach is we need to create a class, right? So this class should be implemented by serializable class from Java. And whatever fields are required for every video game, I have put all the fields at the beginning. So ID we required, and I put 0 as a default value. Video name, release date, review score, category, and rating. So I have defined required variables. Now for every variable, we need to write a get and setters methods. So already we have seen in the previous video, so how to create a class, Java class, right? So for every variable, to set ID and get ID. So get ID method will return ID, set ID method will capture the ID from external source and add that ID to the class variable. So here getters and setters I have written for every variable. So for here get name and set name, get release date and set release date, and get review scores and set review score, get category, set category, then get rating and set rating. So finally I have created all the getters and setters method for every variable. And at last I created one method, so display all the data like ID, name, release date, review score, along with the category, all these things. Okay, so this is how we need to create a Java class. So here we should be implemented by serializable class. And one more thing is here, especially we are reading this data in deserialization approach, especially we read this data in XML format. So in that particular case, sometimes we need to specify what exactly every item is considered as one node, right? So you need to specify that XML accessor type, XML access type dot field. So this everything will be considered as one field. And XML root element, if you know any root element, you can specify in the bracket, or else you can just leave it. And especially for these two, we need to import a special packages called JavaX XML bind annotation, JavaX XML bind annotation, XML accessor type. So these are the two different packages which we need to import. So the dependencies we already added earlier in the pom.xml. So we just go and pom.xml. Okay, so this is a dependency I have added newly. So JavaX XML bind. So this is a new dependency which we need to add, especially for XML. JavaX XML dot bind. You can find this in the Maven repository and get it. So we can just go to Maven repository. So here MVN repository, you can get it the dependency from this particular website. Just go to Maven repository and search for the item. So JavaX XML bind. So here it will show JavaX API. So go to the 2.3.1 and capture this one. Specify in your pom.xml. That's another dependency, external dependency we record. All right, so now we have done the setup, and this is a video game main class, guys. Okay, now come to the actual test. So let me just open another test which is already written. So video game API test with serialization XML format I'm using here. So here I have created test video game serialization. First I do serialization and I do the post request and using serialization, and then I can get the data from the database. Here I'll do deserialization. Okay. So the first method is video game serialization JSON. Here I have created. So let me just, what I will do is I'll just minimize this. Right. So now here, this is my video game class. Right. So this is my video game class and this is the actual test. So here for video game class, I created an object and I have called all the set methods, and I also pass some data here. So let's say set ID. It can start from 10 is a maximum, I guess. So if you just go and see the API request, so number of games currently, click on the try it out, it will show you how many are there currently. So currently that last ID is 10. So we can start with the 11, right? So here I'll say 11. Okay, so set ID is 11, set name, release I'm passing, set score, category, and rating. So these are the details I have passed to the set method. So it will assign those values. So now the actual test will start here. So in the given section, the content type we need to specify. So this time we are passing this content as a XML format. So we need to specify the content type is application/XML, and the body is my video.game. So the complete object I'm sending as part of post body, post request, right? So when inside the when and say post request, this is a URL which we need to use. So if you have doubt about this post URL, what you can do is you can just go to your Swagger UI, right? So here list operations, just go to post, right? So I'm going to use post, click on the post. So here some data I have provided something, let's say some ID, right? So some ID, and here click on the try it out. So here it will give you the URL. So request URL along with the body. Okay, so this is the URL we need to use. The same URL I pasted over here. And once you send this post request along with this body, and in the response, I'm logging all the information, and body should equal. So body contains the status and other fields, ID, all these things. But status value should be record added successfully. So I have used some regular expressions here, but overall this will verify the status value is record added successfully or not. So this is a exact test video game serialization test case. Okay, it will send the post request along with this body, and internally it will perform the serialization. So we are passing the object here, and in the XML format, application.xml. So once it is done, so in the coming next test case, here I'm doing serialization. So here also I will pass the same value, 11th ID. So here we need to pass the ID value. So accordingly, it will retrieve the data. So video game, and again I'm creating the object of the video game class is equal to get, and I'm passing the request. This is a get request as. So as soon as we send this get request, it will give you some response. Again, that response should be converted as an object type. So dot as which object type, video game dot class type object. So we need to specify that and store that object into some other object, my video game object, and this should be again video game type. So from this object, we can extract all the data by calling toString method. So if you remember UGame class at the bottom, how this class I have created one method called toString, right? So this will combine all the data, whatever we set in the post request, and will be printed here. Okay, so this is how we need to use. So let me just go through once again. So here we created video game object, and we have set all the values, and we have sent a post request, and here in the given session specify the content type and the body as the object. Now send a post request, and the body also will go through the post request, and once we get the response, we're sending all the logs, and status should be record added successfully. So this is how I've written the test. And after that, this is another test for serialization or deserialization. So here I said test video game deserialization. So here, okay, so this is a JSON. Here I have just say JSON, but this is actually XML. Okay, so this is XML. I'll just change to XML. Save it, and here also this is XML. Right. So now come to the deserialization part. So here I'm sending the request dot as video game dot class. I'm capturing the object, and through the object I'm just calling toString method so that it will print all the data. Right. So now here we created which record, 11th record, I guess, right? So here also I will retrieving the 11th record after successfully created, right? So let's execute now. So I'm executing this test case, right click. Now my API is up and running here. So here currently we don't have, right? So we don't have, let me just close this one. So in our Swagger UI, so currently how many records we can see here is, let me just go to the get request again. So click on the try it out. So here it is giving the XML response. So the last ID is 10, right? So let us execute, guys. So here I am running my request. So run as test-ng test. So both the, okay, so I think I have run only one. So just stopping here, just against. So I'm just commented this one. I'm just removing it. So the first test will run first and then second test, priority also given here. Fine. So now let's execute. So run as test-ng test. Now I have run the test-ng test. So two test methods will be executed now. Right. So now it is executed. Now we can see the output here exactly what it is saying. So this is another output we have seen. This is a tree output. Both are get passed. Now if you exactly see the output, so this is a we have seen the log or right, the first request. So this is printed everything. So application.xml is a response and some type of data is say. So now you can see the status is equal to record added successfully. So that my test is got passed. Now here by using deserialization, right? So by using deserialization XML, I'm calling toString method from videos class. So that will print all the details. So if you see here, ID, name and date and rating, all the stuff is printed. So these are all the details exactly printed. So this is output from the second test. So this will printed all the details. That means it is successfully executed. So now you guys notice one more important thing here is, okay, so we have got nulls, the last two values, if you notice here. So what is them is category and rating. So these the two all values who still we are passing as part of post request, but at the time of getting the data from the database, it is returning nulls here. It is not returning the exact value. So the API itself is designed like this. So when I send the same API request through Postman also, it will throw nulls here. So let us try this. So I'm sending the same API request. So here, just come down. This will giving only, this is the output actually. So the last two values are null, right? So when you run the same request, even in the browser or Postman, it will give you nulls. This is not in our script issue. Okay, so if you see here, so there is no category here, right? So, and also review score and release date is there. So what else we don't have here is, so the last two things, what are the category and rating is not there. So here category rating is missing in the XML response. So even if you send the same request in the Postman, so if I say go to the Postman, so here I'm sending the same request, click on the send. So this will not give you category and anything. So the only 4 details are populating here, rest of them are not giving any response. So this is a XML related behavior. So that's a behavior of API. So we cannot have any control on this. But finally, we are able to get all the data, serialized, deserialized data. So after deserialization, we got the data here. So this is how we can send request as XML format, and also we'll get the data as an object format using deserialization of XML. So this is the API which I have used here. So when I run this one more time, I can again, and if you go and see the Swagger UI, if you just try it out, now this time you can see the 11th record which we have just now added, right? So this is a 11th record. It's fine. So similarly, we can also add more number of records by changing the ID. So ID should not be duplicate. ID always should be unique. Okay. So rest of the details can be add anytime duplication, but ID should be unique as per this API functionality, right? So this is how we can send post and get request in XML format using serialization and deserialization. So as I said before, this API is also support JSON format of request and response. So we can also try JSON if you are required. So let me just open this. I have created another test for JSON also. Let me just show you them. So here, this is a JSON part. So the same thing, nothing is different. So I have just created an object passing all the values. So 11 is already there. So I'll say 12 here this time. And I'm passing some data to the setters method, which I've created in the video game class. And content type we need to change. And rest of the code exactly the same. Only the thing is content type we have to change here. Content type is application/JSON. And the request URL is same, status is also same, record added successfully. And this will go through serialization process because we are passing the object directly here. This object contains all the data. So deserialization also we can specify the same ID, that is 12, and it will give you as an object. Then we have extracted all the values by calling toString method from the video game class. So here at the end we have created a video game class. So in the video game class, we created a toString method. This will consolidate all the values and it will return, right? So here I have already specified the category and rating, so that even though we are not getting proper values, it is returning nulls, right? So now let me run this test case also. It is currently JSON format. Okay, previously I already run XML, so this is a JSON. Same API will support XML and JSON, but some of the API will support only XML or only JSON. But this API is especially designed for supporting XML as well as JSON request and response. Now click on the test engine test. So now I have executed. So sorry, I have not enabled the test. Just a moment. I think I should enable the first one and also second one. All right, so now let me execute this test. So two tests, one is serialization, the other one is deserialization of JSON. So now it is executing. So now it is successfully executed. Now you can see the application type is still, content type is XML, it is saying, because maybe response is came in the XML format, but at the request time, we have specified the JSON format. Okay, that's fine. So, and it is got passed. Now we got the recorded address successfully. And here also it is created 12th record, but the last two values are null. Okay. So if you, even if you send the same request in the Postman and other tools, if you test manually, the same type of, this is just, we need to change the value. So same type of response will be returned. So instead of 11, I say 12, click on the send in the Postman tool, and it will give you only ID, name, release date, and score. So category and rating is not there. Okay, so that's the reason we got nulls there. So this is how we can send a request using serialization and deserialization approaches. So we have seen how to pass a request using serialization and deserialization for JSON format and also for XML format, right? So that is all about this video, guys. So these links will be provided in the description, so you guys can find the links in the description. So thanks for watching this video, guys. So that's all for this video.